What did it
Yeah.
feel like to wear this at the new camp?
Yeah, very proud. I mean, what you say is one of the nicest shirts I ever worn. It's beautiful.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
I've got a blast from the past here.
Yeah, I
for
see
you.
it. Yeah.
The 1989 away shirt. What a great design.
Yes, exactly. I started again this year with a very exciting shirt, as we may say, to this away shirt they announced last week.
Definitely.
A bit about the history that we had in '95 with the squares and the triangles and stuff. So reminds me of that.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. It reminds me of a classic as well. Have you got any a collection from your playing days?
No, I have nothing. I always give shirts away because for me, the people who I gave it to, they were so happy and gave me a smile on my face. And I never had something really, that I thought by myself, I have to have that shirt in my collection. It's for me just the memories, and I know it's then somewhere in the attic, lying there in a plastic bag or whatever. Some guys they put it on, they frame it or whatever. But I never had that feeling. But
you swap a lot when you were a player.
The funny thing is, last time we had a discussion about that with some players. In my time, especially with Ajax, we were not allowed to change shirts because you had like 2 shirts, and we had to do that. We have to keep them for the whole season, and at the end of the season you could change it, you could swap it. So a bit strange, like a big club as Ajax. Now they changed it, of course, because when I went to at that time in '99 to Barcelona, we could swap every game 2 shirts. So it was a whole different idea about it. And I said it once to like not the manager, but a guy who was like the team manager. I said, listen, if somebody asks my shirt and I have to tell him, sorry guy, I can't give you that shirt because we're not allowed. I said, we're fucking Ajax. Sorry for the language. We're one of the biggest in Europe at that time, and I have to say no to this gentleman. How embarrassing is that? Yeah. So I just gave it away sometimes, but they always said, no, please don't do it because it's quite expensive to all those shirts to renew the shirts and stuff. And now, of course, Ajax is more healthier money-wise than in my days.
I read a quote from you, actually, that after this match, in the group stages, when you beat AC Milan at the Olympic Stadium, that you said that you felt like little kids when you wanted to swap shirts and you had to ask the card to do it for you. Is that right?
You can imagine, Doug, that was the first time we played in the Champions League. So it was our first game in the group stage against Milan, the cup winners of that year before, the Champions League winner. They just announced it that it's called Champions League at that time. Before it was European Cup 1. And we won. Of course, we were young guys. Only Frank Rijkaard and Danny Blind were a little bit experienced guys, and the rest was just young guys. And of course, we won 2-0. And they were like stars. They were already 3-4 years on top of the European football. And we want, of course, have a shirt. And it feels a bit, if you think back, those little kids knocking on the door in the dressing room, and they are just overthinking their loss and thinking with the head down, and we are like little kids waiting to get a shirt from them. So it was a bit embarrassing, but for us they were our idols, with Baresi, Maldini, all those guys.
Can you remember ever swapping with one of the big legends, when you played at the World Cup or something? What was the best shirt that you ever got?
I got one from Simeone from the semi-final quarterfinal against Argentina in Marseille, when we won the 2-1 with a great goal, of course, from Bergkamp in the dying seconds. So those were special moments. And so for me, Simeone is not that you think, oh, that's a great. He was a great player. Don't get me wrong, but you think, Messi, whatever. But at that time, the game itself, the World Cup itself, that shirt, I think the Argentinian shirt is one of the most beautiful shirts. that makes it special, of course. And we won 2-1, and so that I remember is, I think, a shirt that is still a bit stuck in my mind. That I think, this is a special moment.
How many times does your brother talk about that it was his pass for the Bergkamp goal?
No, Frank is quite down to earth, and he gave a lot of passes in his career to Liedman or Bergkamp or Rivaldo. But I mean, it's shown many times, especially now, so many years ago, and especially with the coronavirus, they repeating a little bit the history, of course, of football, and you see those moments back, and it's a great pass. But I think Bergkamp had to do still quite a bit. So
just a bit, yeah. So I've got some shirts for us to reminisce about your career with. I mean, playing for Ajax, there's so many great shirts from your time there. I love all the old Umbro shirts, but I mean, the most important has to be that Champions League final winning shirt from 1995.
Yes.
What does this shirt mean to you?
No, I mean, if I look at it now, it's a nice shirt. It's not that I think, oh wow, it's one of the best shirts I ever worn. Away shirts. It was, of course, the away shirt. We played away because the shirt behind you, with the red stripe. For me, that's the most beautiful shirt. But we played away, and it's okay. It's a bit dark. It has a strong color, and of course, winning that. The biggest prize in history, of course. After that, you can win the World Cup, but you can only play the World Cup for teams. When you win this trophy first, the Champions League, we did that in this shirt. So that is for me very special, and I think I played some good matches in it, and still proud of that moment, of course.
And that team, I mean, so many star players, obviously the old legends like Blind and Rijkaard, but that crop of young players such as yourself, your brother, Kluivert, David,
yeah, exactly.
Van der Sar, Canu. I mean,
Overmars, yeah.
How does it feel to be a part of one of the all-time great teams?
Yeah, but at that time, of course, it's you don't realize that, because after that everybody's flying away to different teams, but everybody has a wonderful career. So that says something, that we had an unbelievable team. Shame was, of course, that we couldn't keep the team after the Bosman arrest together, because that was our intention, of course, with this group, to maybe stay another 2 years, because they had the potential to win, because we won the final, then we lost the final. Then we lost the semi-final, but I think already then some players left. I think if we could win this team, it would be very difficult to beat that team in that period. So for me, to playing with that outstanding players was great. I mean, I remember position games on training. The standard was so high. If you touch like 6 against 3, if the 3 in the middle touch it once, they were lucky. So high the level it was. So if you do 6 against 6 and you don't have the ball, you have to run like hell to get the ball back, and that says something about the quality.
And when, as a group, all those young players, when did you realize that you were world class and that you could beat anybody?
It comes gradually, because that shirt what you held, that was at the end. And in the beginning, of course, the game what you just mentioned with the Milan shirt, that was our first game, and we had no clue where we were standing at that moment, quality-wise. It was just one game. You can also think there was a bit, arrogance of Milan. Maybe they underestimated us a little bit. But then gradually you see you win the game. You think, oh, we're not so bad. And everything you watch, for example, the video before. That Van Gaal is showing the team, and you think the opponent, geez, what a strong team. And then you play against them, you think, they're not that strong. And then the beliefs come more and more, that you think, hey, we have a special team together. We can do something special. I think that comes gradually, but not like in an instant in the beginning from the season that you think, oh, that was we started the season. We are contenders to be champion and contender of the Champions League. No, definitely not.
Well, when you thrashed Bayern Munich in the semis, though, did you feel then we can win this?
Yeah, but we already felt away that the 0-0, it was a boring game, that we could stand our ground easily there at the Olympic Stadium in Munich. And Yeah, we were very confident, even though my brother was on the stand, that we could beat Munich. Yeah, not with 5-2, and it was an incredible game, but that we were the better team. At that time, we believed that we could win against this team.
How much would you say you owe personally to Louis van Gaal for bringing you back from FC Twente?
Yeah, very much, of course. I mean, something you need a bit of luck in life, that somebody comes on your path and he becomes a manager because the other manager was sacked, and they push him forward, and then suddenly he's building a new team, and he thinks, oh yeah, I need a type of player that is walking or playing in Enschede, that he knows very well. So sometimes you need that luck a little bit, so that he becomes coach of Ajax. And when he decided to bring me back, of course, I was very honored, because I never thought and believed that I would ever come back to Amsterdam, because normally you never, when you leave normally for good. And for me, it was, of course, you must imagine, when you go from Ajax to Twente, it's a step back, of course. For me, it was one step back and try to get 2 steps forward. And then I came, of course, back to Ajax, first as a number 9, and then after I think 1 year, I realized, but also the coach Van Gaal, that I could also, and maybe my best position was right midfielder, and from there on it went very well. So yeah, for me, I'm very thankful that he believed in me, and also, of course, with bringing me to Barcelona, with the Dutch team. So our relationship was good. So
was it Johan Cruyff who gave you your debut?
Yes.
And what was his influence on your career?
Of course, I was 17, playing in the under 19 at that time, under 18, and I made my debut under him. I scored with my debut, so I have to thank him also very much that he gave me the opportunity to play in the first team. And he said directly that this is just the start. Don't think that you're already there. It's just starting, and keep working hard, and don't get crazy about people who want to have something from you. For example, shoe contracts, because he said some sponsors will come and they want to have you wearing their shoes. Just play on your comfortable shoes. It's not important. That 5,000 euro at that time of guilders is not important. Sounds a lot of money, he said. Believe me, you must just play. It's your tools. Just play with your shoe that you feel comfortable. Don't think about signing a contract, because that is not important. When you're playing very on a high level, then you can make contracts. He said, then you have to think about money, but not this time when you're 70 years old.
Do you think that a great team should be built on the youth academy? The people from the academy.
It depends on the philosophy. Ajax. It depends also in which situation you are. For example, in Premiership, the number 20 from the Premier League gets still 120 million pounds just at the start of the season. In Holland, the television rights are Ajax. The top one gets 9.6 million euro, I think. Now, count your difference. We can make money, of course, from young talents who do well in the first team and then sell them. That's our making money a little bit. We can't say, okay, our right fullback is not functioning very well. We get the best right fullback of the world at that time. City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they can do that all. Man United, we can't. So we have to be creative. But I like that we give opportunity to young talents, not be afraid to give them an opportunity to fail. Maybe doesn't matter, but we see that they have the quality, and that always gives us a stimulation to all the guys who were in the academy, that there is a huge possibility. If you do well, you get for sure an opportunity to play in the first team.
Do you have any regrets from this match, the '96 Champions League final?
Yes, of course. I mean, everybody talks about '95 when we win it. Of course, that's a big thing. But I still regret so much that we didn't win the second one, because then you really make history. Winning it twice in a row is not given for a lot of people. And now when you think back, if we just take the penalties better, or we were just a bit more fitter or whatever, you could yeah, you can be part of a few guys who did it in a lifetime, winning 2 Champions League in a row, and it hurts still when I see this shirt. Yeah.
If you were on the pitch, would you have taken a penalty?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And in terms of, I'm
Don't
sorry.
know if I made it, but
I'm sorry to bring up penalty shootouts, but which one would you say hurts the most? Is it the '96 Champions League final, or is it Euro '96, or France '98, or Euro 2000?
now, personally, of course, for me, it's in '98, of course, against Brazil that I missed, because that, of course, if they make the next one, they could still be in the final, Brazil. But after my penalty, it was definitely over. And then you think if maybe Van der Sar would stop the penalty and you can reach the final. And personally, that is the most disappointing penalty ever that I've taken, and with serious consequences. So for me, still hurts the most. Of course, in the Euro, and I talk about a team because Frank, my brother, of course, and that's also quite personal when you talk about my brother. 21 years on the same room spending, we know each other so well, so he missed 2 penalties, so that hurts a lot, especially with the team that we had. We had a European quality team, worthy team, that we could win the European Championship, so that also hurts. But yeah, personally, 98 for me was hurts the most.
Let's go back to 1994. You came on the pitch 2 minutes after this guy had done the Rock the Baby celebration.
The baby, yeah.
What's your memories of this match and of this tournament?
Yeah, there was 2 things. First, of course, it was just, I think, the referees had a new, I would say, that rule when somebody is offside but he's not participating in the game. The referee doesn't have to blow the linesman doesn't have to put his flag. But we thought the ball was really bouncing close to who was running there. And Bebeto went away and they just put it in, I think, in empty net. So for us that was of course frustrating. And then of course that 2-2, and then we the free kick from Branco. I still think that it's a big mistake from our goalie, because he was the only one behind the ball, could only score in that corner, so it should be his corner, and he was still surprised that it went in. So I think if we went to extra time, because we looked fitter, and we could reach the semi-final. It was a shame that it was a great team, and don't get me wrong, Brazil, but I think we could. We could go further if that free kick didn't go in.
And the '94 Holland team or the '98 team, which one was better, do you think?
98, of course. I mean, everything was perfectly. We played very good football. I think we showed the world some great skills, and the game against Argentina, people still talk about it. And even this game against Brazil that we lost with penalties, went up and down. Both games had the chances to go through to the final. And of course, with penalties, we were just talking about losing and be responsible of missing a penalty. That is a bit sore memory, but overall, I think we can look back at with pride at that tournament.
As an Englishman, I've got to ask, this shirt, were we great, or did you guys just have a bad game?
No, we started okay, but then I remember also I on 0-0 I turned away from Gascoigne, and I think I just shoot it over the bar with my left, and he looked at me, good action, and I remember. But then, we lost it a little bit. I don't know, and we were just lucky that Kluivert scored in the last 5 minutes, the only goal for us, because otherwise, with goal difference, we wouldn't even go through. And so it was a bit embarrassing. 80 minutes, I guess. And but all respect to and all credits to England, because they played very well.
Thanks. We'll take that. This is your shirt from that game.
Yeah,
We got it from one of the England players. Do you remember swapping after this match?
yeah, probably, but I can't remember who. Do you
With
know?
Paul Ince. So we
Oh,
got.
Paul Ince. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I like Paul. Great guy, great player also.
In terms of kit design, did you prefer the Lotto shirts or the Nike shirts?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to do with brands, but I just look to the print itself. Then I refer the other one.
You prefer the Nike,
The back looks okay, I must say, but the front
the front. Yeah.
doesn't give me goosebumps. The other one looks more, I don't know. Of course, in 2 years' time, a lot of innovations are made with the shirt, with the dry fit and stuff. So you can already see that the 98 has a little bit more, quality in it, in the shirt itself. It looks better it's better shaped.
And as a player, did you have to give any feedback about the shirts? About the fit or the designs?
No, yeah, at a certain moment, yes, we asked like, a little bit more slim, because I remember when you see games back that you think, how is it possible? They gave us XL, looks like everybody in XL shirt.
Yeah.
You think you have to carry that, especially when it's raining. It's all hanging around you. It doesn't look so bad. And I think you remember that when it's, I think in '96 or something, '97. They tried to give us also some input that we could say, okay, think about this, or what do we like and stuff. Yeah.
You signed for Barcelona in
Yeah.
'99, and not only did you get to play for one of the biggest clubs in the world, but also wear
With
one
the
of the
shirt, yeah.
best shirts.
Centenario.
The
Yeah.
centenary shirt. I mean, it's one of the best shirts. What did it
Yeah.
feel like to wear this at the new camp?
Yeah, very proud. I mean, what you say is one of the nicest shirts I ever worn. It's beautiful and special, of course, to be part of the 100 years old shirt. And yeah, and also with the likes of Rival, Guardiola, Figo, and all the Dutch guys. It's a great honor to play for Barcelona.
How good was Rivaldo?
Yeah, same with Figo. There were, especially Rivaldo was more individual player, a guy who unbelievable thing, and that out of nothing he would score goals, and with his dribbles, with his shot, amazing, never injured. On training he was not always giving everything, but it's a bit the Brazilian thing, I guess. But when the whistle goes, they're so football lovers. They want to play every game, and they don't want to miss everything. And great personality, also quiet but very nice guy. And yeah, he did some things that you think, yeah, great to be part of it and to be his teammate.
And Pep Guardiola, could you tell that he would become a great manager?
Now, let me put it this way: he was not the most physical guy, not the quickest. So you have to be very quick with your brain to be playing so many games on that level, so many years. You have to have a great vision. So I think if you would say who's going to be a coach who can have an influence on your team, then I would guess Guardiola. Because otherwise, the same with my brother. My brother was also not the quickest, but they had such a great vision that I can believe that they can be a good manager. Yeah.
In 2000, you signed for Rangers.
Yeah.
Is it true that you could have signed for Man United, but instead you went to Rangers?
Yeah.
What happened there?
No, I remember Van Nistelrooy got problems with his knee, and it was still not at that moment that bad with his knee, but they sent him back from PSV Eindhoven because they want to sign him, but they did medical checkup, and they said, okay, now we don't trust your knee, and so we will follow you still and come back to you maybe. And then he not. I mean, it happened very sad for him. With the training, he collapsed to his knee, and so after that he recovered. But I knew that the physical and tests are quite high there. I could still play, but in Barcelona I never missed a game through my knee, only with a groin injury. But my knee was fine. But still, I had 3 or 4 operations already, 3 operations with my knee. So I thought if I go there and they think it's too risky to take him because of the knee, then I have to go back to Barcelona with a stamp on my forehead. Not fit enough, because that rumor will always go out. So why is he back? You can go to Man United and they send him back. So I don't want to risk that. And I thought, with Rangers, there were a Dutch doctor, and you can explain it also better than when you're with your own people, basically. And they had just lost 6-2 against Rangers, against Celtic. They needed badly a player there. So, I thought I get a 4-year contract. A lot of great players were there, and I'm happy that I did, because great 4 years I had there at Rangers.
How did the Old Firm derby compare with El Clasico?
I always say it's more intense. You should play in one to experience that, because I think it's more intense than, for example, a Clasico. A Clasico always goes worldwide, a lot of attention, but the intensity of the 2 clubs is more with the Old Firm than a Clasico. So for me, it was mad in a positive way to play in those games.
Finally got your hands on some silverware at Rangers in this shirt.
For me, this is a proud moment, yes.
To win the title, get that title back, and do the treble as well.
Yeah, that is still, they still look at that period for me, that they remind me, the people still, of that moment, of course, because I had an unbelievable season from the start till the end. Scored 20 goals, more than 20 assists. So for me, it was also personally a great year. And then winning the treble, what is not given for many people, of course. One of that you will never forget.
Who's the best player that you played with?
I always say it's difficult, because everybody has his
played with a lot
quality.
Of great
for example, from the start, is one of the best goalies I played with. But you always look to players who you play with in front, who are creative. Then I would say like Rivaldo. For me, Rivaldo was a player who can change the game, even if you're not playing well, suddenly he can score a goal. So for me, he was the best. Not as a team, because I think as a team in '95 we were better than Barcelona as a team. But individual, I think Barcelona was better with Figo, Rivaldo, and all those guys. So, but Rivaldo for me, was my best teammate, I guess.
That's good praise from yourself. And what's the favourite shirt that you wore in your career?
I must say, I behind you, with the red stripe. For me, that's one of the most beautiful shirts. Just simple. I mean, maybe this one is not so nice with I don't like this one really.
Color. Don't like
the colors. I don't really. It should be just red. In my eyes, not too much different things on it. But for me, just the little bit like the old shirt. I love that. Just simple red, and then the white, clean white. For me, it was special. Even in the youth, I remember when we played a tournament, like tournaments abroad, we could only wear this shirt when we reached the final. So otherwise, you would never wear that shirt. Of course, in the leagues, yes, but not with tournaments. And then you come up with on the pitch with a final, you feel strong, because then you can finally wear that shirt. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful shirts I've worn.
I agree, to be fair. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ronald. Really appreciate it. It's great speaking to you.
Hey, all the best. Take care.
Thanks a lot. All right, see ya.